I don't think the answer is to be MLS or no MLS. Like, stop dividing the whole pool into this or this. Like, it's not that.
True. True.
Like, it doesn't matter where they play. If you're the best type of player in your best position, then you should be in the national team. It shouldn't be about MLS or not MLS. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the league is a good league.
Welcome back to the Player Manager Podcast. I'm Zealand. That's Julian. Very normal week where the U.S. didn't lay an egg at all. So we're definitely not going to talk about the Nations League that I'm pretty sure all of us picked the U.S. to win. Didn't quite happen. You know we are going to talk about it. We also have our very own March Madness coming up later in this show. A March Madness of kits. Now, I've become something of a collector myself. Julian obviously wears the damn things as part of his job. And we are going to be ranking some of the best MLS kits of all time. So whether you are an avid MLS fan for a long time or somebody from around the world that hasn't been able to enjoy the beauty of MLS kits, we've got you sorted out. But first, Julian, your number one hair care tip. I have to know why it always
Oh,
gets
jeez. Out of left field. My haircut tip. I have none. Honestly, this is like just thrown out there. Like, didn't
oh,
even care
dude.
about it. I just said to Alexi, I logged on, and with a few minutes late, I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna be the last one today." But because we just got home from dinner, but Zealand showed up 15 minutes late again. So there
It's
we
two in
are.
a row. That is. I've been outed. It's two in a row. The first time, because the recording time moved around, I forgot. And the second time, my camera broke. So I'm on a hot streak of two, which means I'm going to be 10 minutes early next time. And I can't wait for that
Sounds
until
good.
my computer malfunctions when I try and log on the third time. And yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I'm going to get an angry text from my mom. She's like, you have to be on time. What are you doing? I know. I'm trying. Did you get up to anything else over the past week besides the U.S. meltdown?
Well, we didn't have a game, yeah, so it was a nice weekend off for us. Didn't have any training, and yeah, just got to spend some family time. It was really nice weather here. My mother-in-law's in town, so we got some nice family time in. It's really spring here, which is means it's like almost too hot already. So
Oh,
we've been outside quite a lot, doing splash pads and water parks and pool already, and those types of things as a family. So yeah, that was the fun part of the weekend, and the not so fun part is what we're going to be talking about here soon. It's
oh.
sitting down and actually watching the U.S. men's national team. Yeah, shit the bed a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. Before we get into the sad part, I will give a shout out. Obviously, I took 2 days off, didn't do anything Thursday, Friday, watched March Madness, 13 straight hours of college basketball. I
Oh
had
yes,
friends that flew in, so it was beautiful. But the one more good note is I want to congratulate Cape Verde on leading their World Cup qualifying group with 4 matches to go. There's a chance
let's go.
if Cape Verde, yeah, they deserve a shout out. There's a lot of crazy stories out there, right? In World Cup qualifying, Uzbekistan's looking good to make it and everything, but Cape Verde is first in their group. They're ahead of Cameroon right now. 4 matches to go.
Wow.
All eyes on Cabo Verde. But I can't delay the U.S. discussion forever. So it is time for us to wade in. Obviously, we are in the reaction phase, right? I don't know what the different phases of what depression are. I don't know what phase we're going to hit as part of this podcast, but obviously over the course of Thursday and then the weekend, the U.S. lost to Panama 1-0 and then lost to Canada 2-1. Both times in front of a largely empty stadium because they decided to play the game at like 4 p.m. in Los Angeles and sell tickets for both games at the same time. So a bunch of Mexican fans that were going to be off work were able to buy the tickets. And I'm saying that because it feels like every single thing about it sucked. Like every single thing about this sucks. But if you're listening to this podcast, you might or probably already know that stuff. So what are the next steps? Like speaking to someone that has played for the U.S. national team, what are the next steps for this team? How do you handle what just happened and process it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, right? And we've certainly sat here before and discussed outcomes like this before, where you think that at some point it has to change, right? You think that at some point it has to get better, and that results need to come, and um, but yet here we are again, a few months after Copa America, almost a year after, and we're almost stuck in the same spot, if not even a little bit of a worse spot, because we had all this like uproar with Pochettino, and guys really got it now. They lost in the group stage in Copa America and couldn't get out the group, and now all of a sudden you have this loss to Panama, which was so deflating, and then obviously a third place match against Canada, which, to be honest with you, I was watching, and after about 15-20 minutes, I was like, this is not even worth watching. Like I was like, uh, after that, I was about, yeah, just kind of like half watching. That was on in the background type thing. The stuff that before I'm like, all right, like I need to see a reaction. You need something, and but there it just felt, yeah, deflated, in a way, and it's disappointing to see those types of performances. I think it's been obviously well covered by all former national team legends, right? That have spoken out. Landon spoke out on X. I think we'll get to those comments. Clint Dempsey obviously spoke out as he sits on the panel, and is right next to the cheer and on the goal celebration of Panama, for example. Like, these guys speak a lot about heart and about passion and playing, what it means playing for the US, and obviously how that didn't come across from the guys, and then I felt the same, and I'm sitting here almost like a broken record saying the same things, and it's just, you talk about at different stages. At first you almost feel like anger towards that and stuff, and but now it's turned into like more of a like disappointment, in a sense, and I'm trying to find answers of or trying to put myself in the guy's shoes, because I'm obviously part of that larger pool, obviously very large pool, but I've represented the US not so long ago, and um it's definitely more of a, yeah, a quest for why did it happen, how come it happened at this point, and how does it not happen again, right? That's the biggest thing. How does it not happen again, and how do we move forward, and how does this transform into a beautiful summer of 2026? That's what we all want, but I don't know, do you have any answers?
No, no. If I did, they'd probably be paying me more than $6 million to try and come in and fix it. No, it was. I think that's what everybody was hitting on. Is it felt kind of like a gutless performance, where it was just disappointing how much it seemed like they weren't trying. And I know that's unfair, right? Because the level of running and physicality and intensity that's required to even be able to get on the field
Yeah,
in these types of matches is insane. I know you know that, and I'm obviously not trying to disrespect the fact that sometimes fans come in and they're like, "Oh, he's not even trying," when you've just ran 7 miles and tried to press somebody for 90 minutes and you jogged once and that's when they scored, right? Like that's got to be the most
yeah,
frustrating thing ever if you're on the field. And I'm careful not to go and say, "Oh, what is this Weston McKennie? What is he doing?" Right? But there is a difference between I want to win and I have to win. And I feel like if we looked at the US team that existed in 2002, the one that I saw at the World Cup in 2010, the one that I saw at the World Cup in 2014, where they went into the group of death and
yeah,
came out of it and knocked out Cristiano Ronaldo in his prime with Portugal, finished above them in the group. That team had to win. And relatively speaking, that team sucked. I mean, it's like literally no disrespect to anybody who was on that team because they achieved so much more. But if you looked at what their transfer value was, where they played, you would
yeah,
have said they sucked compared to the guys we have now. Right? I mean, the wonder kid on that team was Julian Green. He was like a U18 player at Bayern. Matt Beasler was a starting center back on that team. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a million times better than I would ever be.
yeah,
But he also he's a guy that kind of just spawned in. It felt like just for that World Cup. And he was there and he was great. Right. And then that team lost Josie Altidore in the first game, I think. And he was supposed to be one of the best players on the team, but they just dug it out. You got Clint Dempsey was scoring with like a pelvic thrust at one point in that tournament. They just found a way to win. And this team finds a way to lose. I don't. Yeah, maybe we need to bring Bruce Arena back. Our producer Alexi's putting that in the chat. Like maybe we got to bring Bruce back. But I recall his
Yeah.
loss to Trinidad and Tobago, and maybe we need a new direction. It's just they're
I
finding
mean,
ways to lose. There's just isn't that
yeah,
belief there right now.
yeah. And I mean, the guy who for me summed it up the best was Landon Donovan, right? Like for me, that
Yeah.
kind of hit the nail right on the head. He says, I think I have the quote here. He says on X, "I'm so sick of hearing how talented this group of players is and all the amazing clubs they play for. If you aren't going to show up and actually give a shit about playing for your national team, decline the invite. Talent is great, pride is better." And that
No,
speaks to what you
I
just
agree
said,
with
right?
that.
About the guys that knocked out, or went through the group of death, and they were definitely weren't as talented as these guys, but they had something more, and that's something that we need to find. That's the thing that we need to find. We need to find in guys that have that dog in them almost, right? You need to have that killer mentality on the field. And Pochettino spoke about this before the games and everything. And that's why it was even more so disappointing that I think we saw what we saw, that it seemed like they had like that type of or they wanted to have that type of mentality going in. And then when you can't deliver the part that is not about a missed touch or a quality issue, it's about kind of just more mental and more like the finding that heart in, and that yeah, that pride inside of you to run and to fight and to scrap and to it's those types of things that if they're not right and your quality obviously isn't the top level in the world, then talent doesn't really mean anything. And Lennon for me hits that on the head. And um again, it's something that I'm very curious to see of how it comes out. If it comes out, hoping we can find it in a Gold Cup in the summer or some other friendlies or anything like that. It's just like this was your last chance to really have meaningful games, and that's why I think everybody feels this disappointed a little bit. But at the same time, I'm me, I'm a glass half full type of guy. I'm looking into the future and saying, okay, rather now than 2026, rather at Copa America than next year, rather um, having these games happen now. And I don't know, are we going to play Panama, for example, because they've been kind of we've can't get a result against them for some reason. So let's hope we don't play them, and maybe we'll be okay.
Yeah, no,
you know,
we've got better luck playing against freaking Portugal, it seems, than we have against Panama. But I think it's something that raised to me today that I wanted to bring up because it kind of reframed the way I thought about the way the Nations League went, which was if we called up the best 25 MLS American players for this national team window, I think we beat Panama. I really do. If you bring in 25 guys, most of whom are not expecting to be there, right? Get a bit of a surprise call up. You get to go on to
yeah.
this big stage. I'm not saying this team would go on and beat Mexico or that this team would even be able to beat Canada. I think the biggest issue that we have is these games against Panama, where there just isn't that, oh, it just got hard and then we have to find a way to get through that. I think if you brought in 25, like the best, 25 of the best players from MLS, that you would have been able to win that Panama game just because they would have that extra 5% in the tank because they're surprised to be there. And I think that when somebody brought that up to me and I kind of agreed with it, I realized that maybe there is too much comfort in the US national team and it's very hard to find the balance between continuity and comfort.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. And I don't know what the solution is. Yeah, maybe I am
I commend
just
you. Yeah.
I've been anti MLS guys in the national team for a long time, but I'm just saying I think what we are missing is that little bit of and I mean that's what Landon was saying, obviously.
So I mean, two. I think I have two things. One, I don't necessarily think I agree with you. Um, I
Okay.
think,
I mean I like Luna and Aguimong and those guys were some of the best players that we had this window, I thought.
yeah,
Aguimong missed
yeah,
a few
and
chances, but
and
he was there. He
like
was active.
I don't think the answer is to be MLS or no MLS. Like, there's stop. dividing the whole pool into this or this. Like, it's not that.
True. True.
Like, it doesn't matter where they play. If you're the best type of player in your best position, then you should be in the national team. It shouldn't be about MLS or not MLS. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the league is a good league. Just like the championship is a good league. Like, like, or like, but it's not. It doesn't matter if what league is better and only players from this league should go. No, it doesn't matter. And that's what Pochettino, did with his roster selection. But I think to go back to your actual point of we would beat Panama with just MLS guys, I don't necessarily think I agree because looking at the game, Panama had one shot on goal, and that was the
Yeah.
one shot they scored, right?
Yeah.
Like, I still think that probably 90 out of 100 games, we probably at least go to overtime or find a goal some way, and not like we just weren't dangerous enough in the final third, right? It was like we were controlling the game. I thought pretty okay. Yeah, you could maybe sense that, okay, they kind of were scrapping and fighting, but they were also defending for a lot, So, and then we just couldn't find that final piece of creativity, that final piece of the final ball, the final last 2, 3 balls, like in the final third, and that's why, like, I don't know if all MLS roster fixes that, you know, like does Matt Turner maybe need to be 2 steps a little bit more towards the middle of the goal? I love the guy to
Yes.
death. Maybe he does, yes, like, but Zach Steffen could have made the same mistake and he plays in MLS, like, or he could have made a different mistake. Like, I'm just saying, that, like, having this or that doesn't necessarily, I think, fix it. I think it's, yes, we need to talk about the mentality and kind of the dog and the fight and all that type of stuff, but you also have to look at the game in itself, and we have to find ways to break down teams like maybe Cape Verde, who is going to be in the World
Yeah.
Cup, who we might play, that is just going to sit there for 90 minutes and fight for their life.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
that's why I don't necessarily agree with you, and I hope you don't take it
no, no,
a
no,
bad
no. I
way.
mean, yeah, no. I think we should end the show. We finally disagreed about something. That's it. That's it. The death of the podcast. No, it's just it's interesting to hear because yeah, there's the tactical side of it where you go, oh, well, the U.S. is missing a 9. Like it's pretty obvious, I think, and I love the way Sargent plays. I just think you need to play with. He's a second forward to me in my mind. The way he plays, I like his
Yeah,
movement and everything, but he's not somebody that is. He doesn't impose his will on the other
yeah,
team. He doesn't dictate the pace of the game. He could change, and for our sake, I freaking hope he does into that type of player. I just think he's better if he's dropping off and somebody else is up there, like a Pepe, like a Florin Balogun, right? But those guys are not. Pepe's dealing with a knee, right? Those guys are not up there.
yeah,
So that's where I think Aguiman came in, and shoot, even if you're missing, he's getting there. He's bullying
yeah,
people around and he's getting to the front. There's the tactical side of it. I just think that I've watched the U.S. national team my entire life, and since basically since the 2014 World Cup, there has been this slow descent into toothlessness, would be what I would say. We're very toothless. And you say, well, we need to, impose ourselves. And I'm Clint Dempsey. We mentioned Donovan's quote. We'll get the Dempsey's now, but his is more along what I'm saying now. He said, I mean, the thing that's frustrating for me, this is a quote from him on the panel. The thing that's frustrating for me is that we haven't progressed as a team since 2022. It was looking like we were going to build from there, and we haven't. Especially considering going into a World Cup in 2026, it's not looking good for the US. And basically, we look like the same team. This looks like the same team that went down to El Salvador and drew them 0-0 when we were in the mud. We were basically mud wrestling them. This looks like the same team, right, that just battles to a draw or gets beaten in a similar fashion in Costa Rica. Right? We don't seem to be growing into it. And we're leaving ourselves open to the fact that, I mean, I love the fact that Panama made a World Cup. I love their nickname, Los Canaleros, the Canal Boys. It's awesome, right? The vibes are fantastic. Cecilia Waterman is a top tier name, right? But honestly, I thought he'd retire. Like, they don't have the dudes, right? There are certain teams that have the
yeah,
dudes and can't figure it out, and that, like Mexico, right? Or Canada, they have the dudes. Costa Rica sometimes has the dudes. Jamaica, even. Panama just doesn't have the dudes. There should be separation there and an ability to create that. And against those teams, when they really dig in and they really play their butt off, we can't separate. This was like, I thought it was more Berhalter. I owe him an apology because
Yeah,
I kept looking at the way the team played under Greg, and I'm like, why can we not just grab a game? I mean, the whole World Cup qualifying, I was just waiting for us to just grab one game and just grab it, just take it away. Just, oh, we've got it. That's what good teams are able to do. And
yeah,
we there was one game maybe, and it was in Honduras, I think. And even in that game, the US was down 1-0 and ended up winning 4-1 with a couple of late goals. Right? There just was never a game where it was, oh, the US wins 3-4-0, easy. Okay, we're done. It hasn't worked like that. Honestly, the only time I can think of is BJ Callahan, 3-0 in the Nations League. That's all I can think of. That was it against Mexico.
yeah. It's interesting, but I think that almost speaks to just CONCACAF in general and how it works, right? And not just like I don't know. Was Mexico ever that team?
I think they were
I
in the
honestly don't know.
past. That would. I'm sure they did it a lot to the U.S. in like the 80s and the 70s.
Yeah,
But no, I think the U.S. was that team at times. I mean, I feel like I watched World Cup qualifying matches in 2014 and 2010 where the U.S. would beat a team by
yeah,
4 or 5 or score 2 early goals, and then it's just a cruise. You're like, oh, okay.
yeah.
But this team just can't do that. It either wins 1-0 or loses 2-1 on a last second corner. Probably against most teams in the world, from Cape Verde to freaking Germany.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's something that is obviously a big thing moving forward. That you gotta figure out. You gotta figure it out.
Oh no, it's
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 funny
gonna
because
be.
like what is it? I think
Yeah.
440 something days left to the World Cup, and yeah, time's ticking. Like yeah, you're showing it, but um, it's It's gonna be here sooner than you think. There's not a lot of windows and not a lot of opportunities um, to kind of figure it out in a sense, and that's why we're feeling this way. That's why we're sitting here, kind of having this discussion that we all didn't want to have. We all wanted to have a discussion of how excited this team looked. You can lose and everything, right? You can lose to Panama. I think, but obviously there's a way. Um, and yeah, it's something that as a dual national, I look to Germany and they've played really well. So I'm looking forward to the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I am too. My namesake, New Zealand, I have always rooted for them really hard. I got the green stone around my neck. They have
There you
qualified for the
go.
World Cup, the huge win over New Caledonia. So my boy Chris Wood, maybe I'm just gonna have to find happiness in my second team. That might be that might be what needs to happen.
Hey, half glass half full.
Yeah.
Glass
No,
half
I
full. We believe. We still believe. I still
the
believe. I believe in the players. I
yeah,
believe in the
I do.
guys. I've been around enough guys that were on that roster. I know a lot of the guys. I know they have the heart in the right place. They care. They care a lot, and that weighs heavy on them. And I think they know what a World Cup in their home country means. And I think it's almost like these losses to me almost amplifies that, right? It's like everybody's almost like a little bit more alert now. It's like, oh, everybody's kind of, yeah, shitting on the team a little bit and really being, I'm swearing a lot today, aren't I? Sorry about that, guys.
We've
Uh,
entered a new age of the podcast. That's technically always been legal here. We just
uh,
took it,
yeah, but so I believe in those guys, and the nation is kind of more in uproar now, where like you feel that a little bit more that people care, as if things are going well. But yeah, obviously, things are going well. Everybody's kind of like, okay, let's see where this goes. You kind of have this like hooray feeling. Maybe it's better to have this like ass kicking almost, and you kind of go into it with lower expectations that then you get to exceed and you get to excite this country and be like, here we are. and play this way now. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, no, I was hoping Copa America was that kick in the ass. And
Yeah,
now I'm hoping the Nations League is that kick in the ass for kind of Pochettino and the new system. Maybe they just assumed he was going to walk in and we were going to roll everybody. I don't know. There are 4 or 5 windows left before that World Cup hits, and it's going to hit like a storm. And if it goes well, there will be an avalanche of support behind them. But it's basically their time to put up or shut up. And I think just to button the conversation we had, you talking about knowing the guys and how much they care. I think the reason everybody's so hard on them is because we know they can be better. It's because I
yeah,
watched these guys play in the Champions League and beat other really good players that some of these Panamanian players couldn't even dream of being able to play against. And I watched these guys that suit up for the US handle them. We know what they can do. And I am hopeful, obviously, I'm always going to be hopeful that they can put it together. And it all, I mean, the World Cup, the way that it's set up, you got to win. I'm doing quick math here, but you got to win 8 games. It's eight. That's it. It's 8 matches. It's
yeah,
like 4 of these Nations Leagues back to back. You don't even need to win them all. Maybe you win a couple in penalties. Maybe you lose in the group stage or whatever. 8 games, 400 something days from now that can change everything if they can get it right. But a team that's definitely happy about their performance and maybe a bit of a return to some glory is Mexico, who won their first ever CONCACAF Nations League. And they did it in dramatic fashion with a last second penalty from Raul Jimenez, who just aside, happy to see him doing well after that horrific injury that he had a few years back. He's in fabulous form, obviously. Scored both goals in the final in a 2-1 win over Panama. But shout out to Panama for making that interesting. Would have been cool to see them win. First time a non-US team won it. Shout out to our producer Alexi for being the bold person that picked Mexico. But I don't know if I noticed a huge improvement from Mexico, but maybe the biggest improvement for them is the vibe. They're happy again.
yeah. Good for them, I guess.
I
Congrats.
tried.
Uh,
Oh, I tried. I tried. I
Congrats. I mean,
tried to
you
tee up
try
like
and
a
be so
non-US.
impartial about this whole
Uh,
thing, and you just like, I don't know, as an MLS player, as a US men's national team player, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit here and be happy about Mexico doing well. Like, Liga MX is
yeah,
beating a lot of MLS teams in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which I hate to see. The Mexico is now the new number one in the region, clearly because they just won the tournament. Like, that's just I think a fact at this point. And
has
uh,
to be. Yeah,
they're going into a home World Cup now as the poster child, as the guys in the front, and that's not where I would want Mexico to be. I would want us to be there, and I'd want MLS to be the league that guys are looking at, not Liga MX or not, So it certainly, yeah, stings. It stings, and it should, and that's why, yeah, congrats to them. But at the same time, I don't like the Mexicans. I don't like the Mexican
no,
teams.
no,
I don't
no,
like the Mexican
no.
national team. But I don't like
Oh yeah,
playing against them. I think there's obviously extra fire always there for us when we play teams, and it has been ever since I came to MLS. To you want to beat a Liga MX team when you play them. That with all the fans that are coming in the US into your home stadium, for example, and cheering against you, that is something that, like, I get goosebumps right now, being ready for those games. But um it's, yeah, not a good feeling. And but again, sure, congrats, and good for Raul Jimenez, I guess.
yeah. No, it's the U.S. Mexico rivalry is always going to be there, but I will give both Mexico and the United States a huge shout out for when one of those teams falls off, the other one always seems to spring up with just enough
Yeah.
to win the trophy. So it is literally just 2 teams winning every Gold Cup and every Nations League, except for this is your pub quiz answer. I think it's the 2000 Gold Cup, which was won by Canada. Very
Oh, wow.
weirdly. They do have one. And then every other trophy ever awarded in CONCACAF is going to one of 2 teams. Panama is going to have to keep waiting. So that's the only thing I will ever thank the Mexican national team for keeping it in the family. But no, I still don't think they're that good, and I hope the U.S. can can catch up to them. I know Mexican fans will be happy they won the trophy, but the way they won it, certainly not convincing. But I do appreciate what has become, I like to call the circle of suck in CONCACAF, which, follow me here, is Canada always beats the US always beats Mexico, and Mexico always beats Canada. We just didn't get our opportunity to play the one team in the circle of suck
Yeah.
that we would have liked to play against. But despite Panama's performance, I do believe for anybody that is watching that the U.S. is still very much part of a big three in CONCACAF. But there is breaking news within the U.S. that might cause some different drama in terms of who's ranked where, which has to do with the USL. Very, very, very interestingly. And I like Julian, I'm not going to put you in an awkward position as an MLS athlete here talking about USL, but they have announced publicly they are going to be instituting Pro Rel and that they will be attempting. And if you don't know what the USL is, it is basically the other soccer league in the United States that runs what is now considered Division 2 and Division 3 in USL Championship and USL 1. But they've also announced they're going to create a USL Premier League. They're going to create a first division league that they're going to try and get up and running over the next couple of years. I will say a few things. USL has been very good at being patient. They have done things slowly. I don't expect them to jump into this 2 feet and get it wrong, at least on the drop. And I also expect, because MLS has been very good at this, MLS to attempt to kill this in the cradle as aggressively as humanly possible. Those are the 2 things I expect. It is just news and it is happening. And what thoughts do you have and what thoughts are you allowed to say, Julian? I don't really know how this works.
Well, I think you need to give your answer first here. I think you should
Okay.
go on to, as the guy that is very much involved in the lower leagues of not just US soccer, but I feel like world soccer. Um, you are very qualified to answer this
Oh, thank
question,
you.
or this kind of discussion topic of should there be pro rel in USL and within the United States, starting I think in 2027, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a tentative date because they want to make sure they can get it all
Yep.
set up. And there's different U.S. Federation guidelines for creating a first division that they have to meet, and which clubs do they want to bring up and maybe create. Um, my only thought that I know for sure is I'm glad it's happening. They're going for it. Who the hell knows if it's going to work,
Yeah.
right? Or what it's going to look like or how this is going to happen. But I like that they're going for it, that somebody is going for it. MLS has a lot of great things about it. Okay, it saved professional soccer in this country. It did. It almost went bankrupt. One guy bought like over half the teams. The way that MLS is set up was incredibly helpful for developing professional soccer in the United States. Now, I believe that the way that MLS is set up is a bit of a hindrance for the continuing growth of the game. While it was necessary for a long time in order to foster that growth, like I'm going to give you a history example because I'm a history major. I love
Yeah.
history. Uh, let's say you build a city, right? And then you build some walls to protect the city. Okay, but the city keeps growing. And at a certain point, you run out of room inside the walls. Now you're limiting yourself. The city can't grow anymore. And that I feel like MLS might be entering that territory. I am but a man, and that is but an opinion, right? MLS and its aggression in snuffing out other leagues and kind of destroying other leagues to make sure that it all stays in the MLS family, I think has been detrimental. Because I think at the end of the day, and this is just summing up the one thing I know for sure, which is that I'm glad this is happening. You're never going to be able to cover the entire country within MLS.
Yeah.
It just won't work. You're not going to get a team in Des Moines. You're not going to get a team in Anchorage. You're not going to get a team in Omaha, right? You're going to need more than one league. Unless MLS wants to go try and create a closed system of 4 or 5 leagues in order to, give every community professional or semi-professional soccer that deserves it, then they're going to, at some point, somebody's going to have to come along and say, you know what, Sacramento, we're going there, right? Or you know what, I'm running out of towns. Boise, you're going there, right? Like you're like, we're going to Maine, Portland, hello. Like
Yeah.
you're going to need another league to offer that. Because if you look at every country in the world that does a really good job of having professional soccer and developing professional soccer and encouraging people to play, all of those countries have little local clubs, whether it's France or Portugal or even Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil might be the model we want to copy the both. I know I am now fully on my soapbox here, right? But Brazil is huge. The northern tip of Brazil is closer to Canada than it is to the southern tip of Brazil. Weirdest fact in world geography. Also true. Okay. It is a huge country like the United States. And yet they have state leagues. They have these little local leagues that encourage semi professional and professional clubs to exist. And the National League doesn't fight that. The National League exists and then
Yeah.
allows those state leagues to have a couple months. I think that there are models out there that maybe MLS is not necessarily willing to explore that would help. And I think USL just just stirring shit up is going to help us figure out what will eventually be the model in the US.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Um, I I moved away from disagreeing with you. This has been too compelling.
Yes.
But at the same time, like I have to obviously say that I'm employed by Major League Soccer. Like it's my employer. I love the league. I've been grateful to have. I'm so grateful to have played for so many different cities and teams within MLS. But I think what USL is doing and what you're kind of alluding to is growing the game on a much smaller level, right? Like getting your, I don't know, guy that sits in the pub or that sits in a restaurant to go out instead of playing men's league with his guys at 6 a.m. Like I know for some a fact that some guys do here. Maybe those people can't go to an Inter Miami game. They would go to a Fort Lauderdale team, in USL where it's just a chill night out with the boys, where you go have some beers and you hang out instead of this whole big show, and that's how you, I think, grow the game almost from the like ground up a little bit more. You kind
Mhm.
of fill in, and you have the big cities all covered. Even USL covers, the second big cities out there, like you said, Portland. Providence just has a new team. Like obviously that one I'm really close to. During my time at Providence College, and a great market, like amazing soccer market, but probably not big enough for MLS. So amazing, perfect for USL. And to be part of that type of system. And there's so many cities in the US that could have that, and definitely three tiers, and definitely three leagues that you can establish. And to make it interesting, why not have promotion relegation? I think it adds meaningful games. It adds excitement for the fans. It adds something totally different, but it also adds an element that is how the game is played around the world. And that's what the
Yeah.
US, that's what MLS, and that's what the US in general doesn't have, right? I think MLS can still exist and they can still be the number one high quality type of team that exists in this country, and that can even grow to a few more markets. Like I'm looking at cities like Vegas, or bigger soccer markets like that, or bigger cities like that. And but then you have these fillers, right? What I call USL in a way, right, where it just captures so many kids that are more and more exposed to the game through college, through MLS Next Pro even. Not everybody of those kids can go pro, but what are they going to do after? If there's only one or two leagues, there's MLS and USL, and maybe USL the third division or whatever they have. So to have more and more leagues like that are competitive, that are also, you have ambitious clubs that are trying to get promoted. You have not so ambitious clubs that are trying to stay up. Like it's that real element of world soccer that would be added to a US system that could really use it, I think. And that's why, hey, I hope it happens. I hope it happens, and I hope it makes all of it better. And by all of
Yeah.
it, I mean also MLS, and how they
Yeah.
can learn from this. Maybe one day they'll be a part of it. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but this is a start of something new. That, listen, this world sport is coming to this country next year. All eyes are going to be on the US, and um, why not adopt a way of how the sport is played around the world as well, and really become, yeah, just something that I don't know, is so loved and is so, everybody loves this game everywhere you go. So you got to grow it. And USL is trying to do it by adding promotion relegation, adding another league. And I'm totally with you that I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's just a couple things that I wanted to hit on because I can always hear the people that argue against this stuff in the back of my head when I'm talking about it or when I hear us talking about it.
Yeah.
And there's obviously going to be people in the MLS camp or in MLS camp that look at this situation and go, well, hey, we do other sports differently. Why can't we do this one differently? And I think that there
It's
is,
not our sport.
yeah, well, one, it ties us into the global culture,
Yeah.
right? It ties us into this global understanding, being able to relate fan wise and player wise, which is important. You can't underestimate the importance there, but it's also, yeah, I mean, American football was always popular, basketball was always popular, baseball was always popular. And if you want to in Louisville watch a basketball game, you have the University of Louisville to go watch. If you want to
Yeah.
watch a baseball game, you have minor league baseball to go watch. If you want to
Providence,
watch
same
a
thing. Yeah.
basketball, yeah, like if you want to watch football game, you've got Louisville's football team, right? College soccer is never going to get to that level. I love
Yeah.
watching college soccer, but it's not going to be that. So if you want to bring the kind of smaller tiers of the sport that you get to experience in the other American sports that are primarily American sports through college and maybe even high school, if you're in Texas or Florida or California with the football, these littler professional teams are going to be able to do that. They're going to bring that sport to people and allow them to experience and allow them to be around it. And also, if you were designing the NFL over, you probably would want to have some sort of system in promotion and relegation. It's just a system that makes more sense. Right now, we
Yeah.
have a system that makes a lot of sense with college football and the draft and the 32 teams, and everybody's cool with it. So, what's the point in changing it? But here, we're like shaping history in real time. It's not already set. We aren't already set in our ways. But nobody's trying to destroy MLS. I think that needs to be very clear. I
Yes.
think what USL is trying to do is get a seat at the table to be like, hey, you can always do pro rel and just attach us right to the bottom of your league. Like they're
Yeah.
just saying, hey, we're here. We're here to help
But
if you want.
there is enough people and enough seats at the table for something like this.
Yeah.
That it's not just like, that's what I think I go back to, right? And that's why I think it's a good idea. It's because of the huge amount of people there are in this country, and the huge amount of fans that you can capture, and people that you can excite, and people that you could invite to play and to watch this game. So there is enough seats, for MLS to exist, for USL with 3 or 4 leagues to exist. There's honestly, you could make MLS into two, which when it grows more, I think it will become East and West, and because it is such a big country, you can capture more and more, um, and USL, like I said, is doing a great job of yeah, catching these markets that college soccer is missing, like college football is, or even college basketball. Like
Hmm.
there's that type of market that is just missing right now, and that's what USL is trying to do. And hey, the whole thing about promotion relegation, I think that's kind of a missing in our discussion a little bit, right? Of the actual happening of going up and down a league. I think it just adds excitement, and I just think it
Oh, it
just
does.
adds
It does.
it just adds meaning to games, right? It there'll be playoffs at the end of the year as well, but the playoffs will be about who going up or going down, and also a Premier League, a USL Premier League winner. Like, so you have kind of all of it. You have um just just as entertainment factor that I know American people love as well. But I mean, it's like that everywhere around the world. And in Germany, England, like, the most meaningful games are played at the end of the year between teams that want to go into the first division or that want to stay up in the first division. It's not the game now on March 28th or 29th that is the deciding factor, in a sense, right? It's the the race to the end. It's the race and the fight to stay up. And if you can establish that, it would be amazing. Obviously, it takes a while. I think it'll take a few years to really get going. But as I am progressing in age, also I look at that and I'm like, hey, to play those types of games as I'm getting older, and maybe my time in MLS at some point in the long distant future, maybe 10 years, I'm just kidding,
Yeah, no,
will come to an end. I'm looking at, USL and maybe being part of that. And that would be something really awesome.
yeah, I'm looking forward to 45-year-old Julian Gressel playing the number 10 at Louisville, in the US Open Cup and in the,
Yeah.
battling for like a promotion spot or whatever it might be. But yeah, the US supports sports, strong sporting culture. My favorite example is Knoxville, Tennessee has a 102,000 seat
Yeah.
stadium, and they can sell it out when it matters. And so you can put those stadiums in hundreds of places around the US and people will be there. And that's why I said the point about the NFL too, is I'm like, promotion and relegation is just a better system. The only reason you wouldn't want to do it in NFL or NBA or whatever is because you'd have to rip up all of this fabric of the game that a lot of people love. But if you're building it from scratch, you should always want promotion and relegation because it's just so fun. I mean,
Yeah.
the NBA has a tanking problem. I've got the solution. You finish last in the NBA. Welcome to the Big East. Okay. That's like, there you go. They're not going to be trying to tank anymore. But we will carry on, speaking of the Big East, which has had a pretty solid March Madness so far, into our own March Madness, which is going to be an MLS Kit ranking portion. What I believe we have, and our producer Alexi will be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, is 16 kits in a bracket. We do not know which kits are in the bracket. We are going to be shown 2 kits against each other, and we are going to have to pick which one should advance. Should we reach an impasse? I am deciding in the moment we will settle it via rock, paper, scissors, but I trust that we will be able to convince one or the other, that we should pick this one kit. But that is the official legal rule for a deadlock and a tiebreaker. And at the end, we will have the greatest MLS kit of all time. For that, we do need Alexi, so we're going to bring him up. There he is. I know, devilishly handsome. You're never going to want to look at us again. But
what's up, everybody? How's it going?
Hello,
I've been
Alexi.
sitting here for 47 minutes. I got a frog in my throat. I've been nervously in the wings, and here I am. I'm finally here. So let me tell y'all about this kind of setup here. It's 16 kits. I picked them. So there's a little bias already at work, and I'm sure you'll see it as we go. But let's kick it off with Atlanta, the 2018 Atlanta kits versus the 1996 New England Revolution.
Why would
kit.
you start with those two?
I randomized it. I threw it in a random gen, so
okay.
it's all random seeded. So tell me a little bit about this Atlanta 2018 kit. What do you guys see in it? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
I got to defer to Julian on this one. Come on. What do you see, Julian?
I see, so many memories. That's what I see. I see such a good time. Every time you put that kit on, it was a lot of fun. And, we ended up adding a star to it at the end. So, this is, no matter who it is going up against, I feel like this kit will be very hard to beat. This is near and dear to my heart. And it's original, the 5 stripes, the peach and the away kit, like it's it's such a cool representation of Atlanta and what Atlanta was about, and Atlanta United as we came onto the league.
Yeah, the 5 stripes are iconic Atlanta, but what I really loved about the 2018 kits was the white kits, the peach ones, because I think the year before this they had gray ones. They were they're whatever, and then I remember seeing those peach ones. I was like, oh, the look is complete. Zealand, what do you think about these?
I'm sorry, the peach one's good, but I'm a huge fan of a red and black combo. I really like somebody that goes for something like a red and black combo. It just works. It works so well. It's going to be hard to beat this one. I'll tell you, it's going to be hard to beat this one.
It's a number 1 seed. It's like Duke or something like that. I don't know. Is Duke a number 1 seed? No, the Gators. How about that? It's the Gators. Go Gators, baby. The other one it's going up against is the New England Revolution from 1996.
Wow.
This is very MLS 1.0 coded, but I don't know. What do y'all think? I know that some people love 90s throwbacks. I'll say I think 90s throwbacks that are this loud are a little bit much for me, but what do y'all think about this?
Definitely much.
I love 90s throwbacks. I mean, it's hard to beat. I think the fact that you've got like vintage Alexi Lalas in the kit
I know.
adds more to it because he was just such an embodiment of American soccer at that time. But it's a good kit. I feel like I'm looking at a screenshot of the 94 World Cup or something.
Yeah,
This is what they were wearing. The BIC pants sponsor though might kill it for me.
Oh, it kills it for you. I think it's actually a pretty sweet little kind of placement for an ad. I like it. Julian, what do you think about these?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to beat the Atlanta United kits. I don't know. I mean, I like them. You know, they're old school. I like the big logo and the number on the kind of front there.
Yeah, that is good. That is good.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably my favorite part about the kit is the way.
Yeah, so it's cool, but I think. Can we settle on Atlanta United, please?
Yeah, I'm a lot closer than you are. I know, because I definitely, if I was shopping at a vintage kit store, I would stop and consider buying this for a long time. But Atlanta United with the black and red, the up and down stripes, it would take it for me, even if you weren't here.
Okay, so Atlanta moving on in that first matchup, and that's another thing. Like you can make these decisions however you want, right? If it's like your kind of what it means to you, or if you want to look at it, would I wear this out to like the bar or something like that? You know, you can make these decisions however you want. Is the design cool? Do I like the colors? Whatever, anything. Moving on, we got 2012 Chivas USA versus 1998 New York, New Jersey Metro Stars.
What God's green earth
so
is that?
Oh Lord.
Let's start with this Chivas USA kit. I wanted to give a little representation to some clubs that have passed from MLS and are no longer with us. Chivas USA is one of them, and I love the Corona sponsor. I think it's kind of funny that there's a beer sponsor. So, Zealand, what do you take away from this Chivas kit?
I always thought Chivas USA, when I was growing up and paying attention to MLS, was the black sheep of the family. It felt like a Mexican League invasion of MLS, obviously with the ties to Chivas Guadalajara and everything. And so it just feels like a Mexican League kit to me. And in a ranking of MLS kits, I just don't know if I can go with that. Now, as far as it being it's a rock solid kit. I mean, the Chivas brand and everything and the way they do it and the beer sponsors that happen in Mexico all the time. Like it's awesome. Would I wear it to a bar? Yes. Would I pick it in this bracket?
Okay. Julian, any thoughts on this Chivas kit before we get to the Metro Stars?
Yeah, I mean, I think the blue one we can kind of forget about. Kind of just, whatever. I think the stripe one is kind of cool and obviously represents the colors quite well. I love the huge USA flag on the side, as Zealand was saying. It's like almost like a Mexican kit, but then you see the USA flag. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
It represents a different era when MLS and Liga MX would work together outside of the All-Star game, I guess. Moving on, we got the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars 1998. It's Mike Petke there in the red one. Julian, what do you think?
I like the red one. I think it's are those Nike? Those are Nike kits, huh? There's a difference still. Yeah. So definitely throwback. You have no idea what it says on the front. I don't think anybody can read that whatsoever. But I don't know.
It's this was a cool era in a way because it wasn't super branded, right? So they just have the Metro Stars name across the front. It's the Kappa boots that does it for me.
I didn't even notice. The boots. Those are
you've got a pretty good look at this one, right? Yeah. And I imagine you got anything to say? You guys ready to make some choices?
No, I'm going Metro Stars, 100%. Yeah,
right there.
I can't send Chivas into the next round. The boots The boots are fabulous. In the like ankle brace shin guards they're rocking too. I feel the era.
Yeah,
Chivas, thanks for showing up just like you did in MLS. So
we got a little bit of
quick.
a little bit of Chivas real quick. Yeah. This was totally random that came up at the next matchup: 2018 Seattle Sounders versus 2015 Portland Timbers. So we got I've been trying to do home and aways, but for Timbers this year, I specifically just wanted to show the third kit because that thing is clean.
Cascadia rivalry. Wow.
One, yes. So I feel like we're gonna have to pick a side. Two, love the Xbox sponsor.
Xbox, yeah, absolutely.
Love me a different sponsor. I'm gonna zero in on the one on the right here if you're watching on YouTube, which is we haven't done a good job of explaining the first couple of kits for those people on Spotify. So we're really encouraging YouTube viewership here, but we've got the Seattle green, and then we've got this kind of white kit with a nice baby blue collar. That's the one that I'm locking in on. That one's really good. I feel like it doesn't quite go with the Seattle logo though.
No, it doesn't, but it is clean as hell. And I hate to say that because if I had to pick an MLS team, it would be the Timbers. So I really do feel bad about it. Julian, what do you think in Timbers versus Sounders?
I kind of like the yellow, like the kind of yellow details on the Timbers kit. But I think the Seattle kind of Xbox logo and the lime green look, like with the blue shorts, I think it just kind of embodies that franchise so well. And honestly, playing against them was so hard in those kits because they like almost blended in with the turf. It was so weird because sometimes you don't always look exactly like what you're going to do. You have a lot of kind of vision peripheral vision and stuff. So it's sometimes they would just blend in. You'd be like, oh, there's a guy over there. Like didn't even see him type of thing. So it's almost like a camo look. So that's why I would go with those.
I don't know. These Portland kits are fantastic. To put it mildly, I am a whore for collared kits. I really am. They are. Sure. It's just the way to go. It's such a good look. I think that in terms of the whole kit coming together all the way down to the socks. I mean, the socks on this Portland kit. The Portland kit is just. I think it just comes together a little better than the Seattle kit does. But the Seattle kit is so
Alexi's the tiebreaker.
Yeah. All right.
If I'm the tie, are we going to abandon the rock, paper, scissors? Because I would love to send Portland through.
All right. Then. All right. Do it.
Well, I mean, I prefer that over rock, paper, scissors because
I'm also a fan of collared ones. But Zealand, I could see you wearing this full kit out to the bar. This is
100%. Yeah. Well, that's a good look right there. I'm so not good at visual stuff. It flows better.
Yeah, I like it too. All right, moving on. This is another old school matchup here. 99 LA Galaxy versus 1998 Dallas Burn. And they're very similar kits. They're both stripe oriented. So what do you guys think of this Dallas Burn one?
I'm still processing the hair on both of these players to try and get to the kit. I don't know if I love it. It is what's really doing me in here is the Dallas Burn in the middle just doesn't work for me. I don't know why it doesn't work for me. I think it's a cool kit, but
the horizontal stripes aren't doing it.
Yeah. All right. So we got two lukewarm takes on the Burn. What about this Galaxy one? We got vertical stripes here.
Much better.
Yeah, I think it's particularly the one on the right.
I love it.
Yeah. The one on the right takes it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. The Galaxy ones, I feel like recently, right, in the last maybe 3-4 years, they've done stuff inspired by this old look. And I personally love that colorway, but I think a lot of people find it ugly. I love it. It sounds like y'all are both Team Galaxy on this one.
Oh, 100%. Yes. We're sending Galaxy through. Our final submission, Sir Alexi.
Yes. Galaxy are through. Chicago Fire versus Tampa Bay. So we got 2001 Chicago Fire versus 1998 Tampa Bay Mutiny, which those are sick.
I remember having one of those and going to those games, and I remember that dude with the afro.
Carlos
And
Valderrama.
it works. I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry the mutiny all the way to victory, but I think I can carry them through this first round because that mutiny kid is ferocious.
And then we got the Chicago Fire. You might recognize Jamar Beasley and DeMarcus Beasley.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
very young DeMarcus right there.
Yes.
I like the hoop. I like the hoop around. I don't know. I like the Fire. It's simple. It's effective.
I really like the one that says Fire. I do. The one that says Fire is worthy competition for the Tampa Bay Mutiny.
I'll let you have it. See,
I'm going to take this one. I got to take the Mutiny through one round because it's so. But it is close in my mind. But I got to take the Mutiny through one round. The one on the left, in particular, the dark blue one, that one does it for me. Slimming the stripes as well.
I love it. The Mutiny are through. They are still with us. Then we got 2015 Columbus Crew, which is they always have the classic colorways, versus 2022 Philadelphia Union. I believe this is the first season that they busted out this like light blue away kit with the yellow and the electric idea.
I defer to you, Julian. I don't know where I'm going to go with these.
I love the yellow one on Columbus. I like how it like comes in on the side there of the on the ribs and then on top, and it's just a nice, bright, really cool yellow. I think the black one is just like boring, but
yeah.
I think I like the Philly one as well, the like light blue one.
This one's kind of tough because I feel like we're hitting really classic. I mean, that's the Philadelphia Union kit and that's the Columbus kit. So this one really comes down to the details. And I think on the details, I'd go with the Columbus Crew in the yellow one. I think it's just got a couple.
We got to save the crew here.
Yeah. Save it, crew. Final answer.
All right, we're saving the crew. Crew are through. The next one, we have our only kit from this year, 2025 RSL kit. I had to represent some checkers in here. It just looks cool to me.
Yeah.
And then this one is I don't know why I picked this one, honestly. 2009 DC United kit. I just thought the Volkswagen was cool, but looking at them now, I'm like, these are pretty plain. So
there's much better DC United kits.
They get the stripe down the front of the socks. If you're looking at the DC United ones, get the stripe down the front of the socks, and it's it's very understated striping. But I think I feel like I'm on RuPaul's Drag Race or something. It really brings out the.
We're not going to pick the DC United kit. Come on.
No, he brings out the Volkswagen. It's cool. I mean, it's not going to win. I'm just saying I like it. All right.
Yeah. Julian, you don't like the DC United one, but you like. How do you feel about the RSL one?
I kind of like the mountains on the one. I'm guessing that's supposed to be mountains. I like checkered kits. For some reason, as a child, I would always have a Croatia kit because of the checkers. And I don't know why. I was like, I'm German, no ties to Croatia whatsoever, but I always wanted a checkered kit like that. So I don't know, just fond memories as a child, I guess, for them to. I'll take those.
It's the most classic checkered kit of all time. I don't think anyone else can do it. It was huge swing by RSL to even go for it, honestly. But Julian, you pick RSL Zealand. You picking DC United on this?
No, I'm picking RSL. Okay, I like the one on the right as well. I think it's slept on, but RSL is in the mountains. They've got like a nice understated mountain shape across the chest. I think that's a really cool way to do it.
Yeah. The last matchup of the first round, we've got 2018 LAFC. This is the first year I think they were around, so this was their inaugural kit with just black and white. And then I just love that they threw like YouTube TV. That was like a really crazy sponsorship move at the time, I thought. And then against 1997 Kansas City.
What in the world is that?
This one's sharp, bro.
That's probably the most insane kit we've seen.
This is a matchup of very loud versus very quiet, I think, in terms of their design styles. What are you thinking, Julian?
I mean, the LAFC ones are black with gold and white with gold, and it's as simple as you can get it, in my opinion. Yeah, the YouTube TV looks cool, and yeah, anything gold I think looks cool, but it's also kind of their logo and their colors, so I'm hoping they would choose anything like that. So yeah, I love the Kansas City ones. I love the throwbacks. I love like that type of style. I think it's loud. It's just unique and speaks to kind of all the stuff we've talked about before about the history of MLS a little bit. And
I love
so
the
that's
old
why.
Adidas logo on the chest. The
Yes.
little
Yeah.
rectangle one looks cool.
Just like, what is
Zealand,
there?
what do you?
There's blue, yellow, red,
They
black.
got everything. There's
Oh,
a
gosh.
green stripe in here too.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'll tell you this. I almost give this to LAFC before I saw the socks. I did, because LAFC is clean and it pops and it's
Yeah.
just a sick kit overall. But Kansas City rolling these dudes out with the like tricolor at the top of the socks. I mean, this is just an absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And they bring it home with the pants too. I think it's everything but the shirt for me that pushes Kansas City over the top. It really is.
All right, so we got 2 Kansas Cities, right? So Kansas City are through.
Yep.
That moves us into the. Are we allowed to say Elite 8? I don't know if that's like trademarked or whatever, but it would be 2018 Atlanta versus 1998 Metro Stars.
I think this is Atlanta. I'm not going to. We've already broken these kits down. I think Metro Stars kind of went through on default.
Atlanta, keep going.
All right, Atlanta are through.
Nah.
Next, Portland versus LA Galaxy.
You know, I think the 2 weakest teams coming into this round for me were LA Galaxy and the New York Metro Stars. And so I think Portland, I think I would have put Seattle over this as well. But I think Portland has this for me. I just don't think the New York Metro Stars brings it.
Yeah, I think I like the socks a lot. Looking at it again, Portland, I think it's a cool look.
Yeah. And then there's the T on the sock. You see that for the Timbers?
Yep.
Literally about to say it. The little axe, the T. It's a classic. Love seeing Portland go through. We have the next matchup.
All right, there, Portland
Tampa
guy.
Bay Mutiny. Tampa Bay Mutiny versus Columbus Crew. This is a pretty crazy one right here.
Dude, I love that Columbus kit. I don't know why, but I love that all yellow. It's just like all yellow, like shirt, shorts, and socks. When do you ever see that? You know, just
Julian,
like,
you sound a little bit like you sound like a Dortmund supporter right now, bro.
Dude, I don't know. No, I mean, I played for Columbus. I've worn it. I like playing in it. So, like, I mean, the players also wearing yellow cleats. What a crazy look, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. That just pops to me. Yeah, that Mutiny is, I don't know. It's a bit much. I feel like all those throwback ones are a lot. They're like a lot to look at.
We already put Kansas City through, but this does look a lot like the LA Galaxy one. The white one in particular, I actually own that kit and I love it. I still wear it to this day. So I'm going to go Mutiny because the white one just brings too much back for me. It's like you picking Atlanta United. I just can't pick against it. So I'll send this to Alexi because even the collar being that solid color, I love it.
I gotta put Mutiny through because
really, I thought I was screwed.
The funniest thing in the world would be to see a defunct team win the MLS Best Kit thing.
That's the reason.
Yeah, that's probably and also Zealand because I want you to be happy. I want to see you happy.
Thank you. I am happy now. 2025
RSL versus 1997 Kansas City.
You don't like the Kansas City kid before you established that, Zealand, right? So,
well, no, I didn't say I didn't like it. I said what put it over the top in the last matchup was the pants and the socks. But you also really like checkers.
RSLs.
I really like you like the checker one. I like the other one a ton, and I don't know, like I'm hating on the checker one. It's just the other one's one of the favorite ones I've seen. So I think we're both going to go RSL.
Yeah, honestly, I think if we play RSL this year, I'm going to ask Diego Luna to swap kits with me. One, he's a good player. Two, that's a sick kit. Like, yeah.
Well, and rest in peace to a beautiful Kansas City kit that we're banishing in the Elite Eight here.
I am shocked. I think this is the biggest upset so far. I think everyone saw Kansas City winning this whole thing, and this is crazy.
Everyone meaning you.
Everyone. Yeah,
we'll see.
me.
We'll see what the people in the comments have to say about us knocking Kansas City out.
I think the Kansas City Kid is a favorite among a lot of people. All right, we got Atlanta 2018 versus Portland 2015. And the winner of this goes to the final.
Atlanta beat Portland 2-0 in MLS Cup in 2018. So
Yeah.
not that it matters.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, man.
Here's what I will say. I say this as a Portland stan. The actual Portland kits from that year were pretty bad. Like the third kit is good. The other ones were not good. They were
that's not what we're debating. We're looking at basically two kits. We're looking at this Atlanta kit on the right? Because I think we all agree that one's at least, it's a little better, not that the other one's bad. And we're looking at this kit right here. As for where I land on it, Julian picked against the mutiny, so I'm gonna. No, I am gonna go with Portland because this one I fell in love with it. I fell in love at first sight with this kit. It just does it for me all the way down to the Alaska Airlines sponsor.
I'm gonna lose then because we all know Alexi, Mr. Portland
Julian,
over here.
I might surprise you. I think Atlanta is just more consistent across both kits. Like the peach kit is amazing and the Five Stripes one is good too. It's classic. Portland's other kits that year were just not enough. And I'm sorry, I know, poor Zealand. I wanted to make him happy, but instead I broke his heart. But I broke my own heart more. Portland are out. Last one.
No, yes. It's a podcast bracket. It's not just mine, so that's fair. I can respect that.
Mutiny versus RSL, and the winner of that will play Atlanta in the final.
It's RSL. I just don't want to talk about it because it's going to be painful.
Okay.
It's RSL.
I was going to say Mutiny just to give you one, and we could have our matchup, our emotional matchup against each other.
It'll be no, I can't. RSL's kits are better. They just are. I'm a man of honor.
All right, so RSL versus Atlanta in the final.
Listen, there were two kits, right? One, it's the Five Stripes, with the black, red, and gold. Just like they created the logo, they created everything, right? Everybody would wear that kit. I obviously have an emotional bias to not just that kit, but even the peach one. Joseph obviously rocks the orange cleats as well there in the look and makes it kind of look whole. But like it's the peach state, right? So for them the thought behind the kit, right, is what, like, when do you ever see a peach in a colorway in a kit, right? It's clean, it's white, and with the accents of American families also in peach. It's not sticking out in any different type of way. It's like just full integration of Georgia and what Atlanta stands for. And that's why for me, they're just, the meaning behind the kit obviously is outweighing everything. So, I can totally see why you would say that a checkered kit is sick and should win because it's so unique. But it's not going to be my pick.
It's a very strong closing argument. Zealand, do you have your mind made up?
I don't. I will say that a lot of the stuff you echo about the peach kit and everything, I think that the mountain kit for Real Salt Lake kind of echoes that too. Gives you a sense of place and a sense of where they are. And I think as much as you don't see the peach color used in kits much, you don't see mountain outlines used successfully in kits very much either. And then you also have you have the checker that is a standout thing. When you see a team rocking it, I don't know how many MLS teams have ever shown up in checkered kits, but I know it's not a lot. And it's executed well, and they've got the Adidas is kind of right on one of the checkers, and it really pops and it's sick.
We're here sitting here debating the greatest MLS kits of all time, and we're picking one that is not even 5 games old. Or that is 5 games old. Are you serious?
Hey, it went through the gauntlet. Okay.
There's no chance it can be one of the MLS greatest kits ever if it hasn't even lasted for not even a quarter of the season.
Well, it's not like it's going to change. It's not going to, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
true.
okay.
Yeah,
Hold on.
true.
The greatest MLS kit of all time. I can't believe that's the argument I've fallen for, but
Should I get it?
It's Atlanta. There you go. That's your answer. It's Atlanta. Because it has a historical resonance that this Real Salt Lake kit didn't have. You said I could pick for any reason. Atlanta United won the league in this kit. And that really brings it. That really brings it home.
Watch ours. I'll win this year. And then
I know if they do, we can revisit.
Leave it to the history major to be swayed by history. It's a storybook ending. Wow. Well, thank you guys for doing the bracket. I hope that you guys had a good time, and I'm sure all the viewers loved it, and all the listeners hated it.
Let us know. Let us know. Hey. All Atlanta fans, please let me know that I'm right.
And we need to know what you guys would have picked. I'm sure you'll tell us, but I'm just letting you know we're okay with you telling us. With the best kit in MLS history picked, that is a wrap. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to send your questions in. We're saving them from the last couple of weeks, and we will be able to get to them on a podcast soon. Thank you so much for following. And if you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so the next time we do something like this, you can actually see what's going on if you weren't there. Bye.